Today, we're going to talk about the brand new U.S. Senator in Florida. We'll see if it's going to affect the political landscape at all. Meanwhile, all eyes are on Ohio to see who Mike DeWine is going to appoint to that Senate seat. So the new U.S. Senator in Florida is Ashley Moody. For the most part, that was kind of the expected pick for the past few weeks. And she's the current Attorney General of that state. And it also says here she's a close DeSantis ally. So she's being appointed to the U.S. Senate to the seat held by Marco Rubio. He's up to be Secretary of State, so that's going to create a vacancy, and Moody is going to fill it. So you can read a little bit about Moody here if you'd like. All these links will be down below in the description. Her quote here is, "I will bring the same persistence and passion and tenacity as a United States Senator that I have brought as Florida's Attorney General." So I'm sure this kind of appointment is going to fall down the usual political lines. Democrats not going to be a fan no matter who it is. Republicans are going to pretty much love almost any pick. And that's how it goes. It'd be pretty much the same thing in a blue state with a Democrat making that appointment. The main thing I want to focus on is going to be the election side. So let's go back to her last election for Attorney General in 2022. She was reelected in a massive landslide, even more than Governor DeSantis. She hit 60.6%. She carried Miami-Dade, even Palm Beach County. This is the year that Republicans kind of cemented themselves in as dominating this state. Some people kind of downplayed it as more of a fluke for a midterm year, but a 21-point win here, plus what we saw in the presidential election, it just seems like this state is pretty much off the table for Democrats up and down the map in every political office. So Moody still had a couple of years left in her term as AG. So Rubio becoming Secretary of State set off the chain reaction. That opening in the Senate is going to be filled by Moody, but now the opening for Attorney General has to be filled by another DeSantis appointment. That's going to be right here. It's a James Youthmeyer. That's DeSantis' chief of staff. So he's going to finish the remainder of that term, and then there'll be an election in 2026. So it sounds like the pieces are falling into place here. The state has become so red that there's a big backlog of Republicans that could move on to other offices. So now when any spot opens up through a retirement or a term limit, there's not going to be any shortage of GOP candidates that could fill it. So it looks like there's going to be a lot of Trump and DeSantis loyalty here with Moody in the Senate and Youthmeyer in the AG office. But the other piece of this puzzle, next year in the midterms, also in 26, there is going to be a special election for that U.S. Senate seat that Moody is going to fill. Marco Rubio was last elected in 22. The next regular election for that seat is going to be in 28. So Moody does have to stand for election here in less than a couple of years, but she's got a huge head start at it. Now here's the Wikipedia page for that special election. If you go past the love or the hate, depending on which side you're on, I do think Moody is a smart enough pick. She's fairly young, still 49 years old. She's won a significant statewide office 2 times, and her personality does not seem totally off-putting. And look at former Attorney General of the state, Pam Bondi. She's up for U.S. Attorney General, so anything could happen with somebody that is coming from Florida. But it might not necessarily be a complete cakewalk for Moody in this special election. There are a couple of candidates here that are listed as having publicly expressed interest in that seat. It's going to be Ashton Hayward, former mayor of Pensacola, and Matt Gaetz. I think we all remember him, a former U.S. representative and a short-lived candidate for U.S. Attorney General. Now, Gaetz does have a lot of controversy around him, but I do think he's fairly popular with the base, and given how red the state has become, pretty much whoever the nominee for this seat is almost guaranteed to win at this point. I'm kind of done underestimating the Republican margins for these elections. That doesn't mean Democrats should not compete for this seat. They definitely should, as any major party candidate should in any state. But with Moody having the head start, she also has to decide if she actually wants to run in that special election. She might get in there and decide it's not for her. But if she does, that could clear the field. If she doesn't run it, then this could be wide open. Then you could see a barrage of different candidates getting in on this race. There was a time when it looked like Laura Trump might be the one DeSantis would pick for this seat. That also completely fell through after a short time. And if you look at the potential Democrats on this page, there's only one here. That's Jared Moskowitz, and he's declined to run. It's a slim bench here for the Dems, but it's early. I'm sure there's going to be somebody moderately high profile that gets into this thing. Maybe Moskowitz changes his mind, or if all else fails, you could always bring out Charlie Crist for one last run. But at this point, they might just view it as kind of a sacrificial lamb if you're running against the Republican here. But the key unknown is going to be the national environment. Now, if it's anything like 2018, the last blue wave midterm, Rick Scott knocked off Bill Nelson in a moderate upset. So there's a rating here from Inside Elections. They have it at solid Republican. Given it's so far off, it's a special election. Who who knows what's going to happen. I could see putting in a likely Republican, but again, I'm kind of tired of underestimating the massive margins Republicans are putting up in this state. So that's what's going on in Florida. There's a new senator and there's a special election on the horizon in 26. So we're also kind of waiting for the same thing in Ohio. There, Governor Mike DeWine has to make an appointment to the U.S. Senate to finish the term of J.D. Vance, who's obviously going to be VP. Now, he already might have made the pick by the time you watch this video because it could be happening any second. And when that happens, I might put out another video, but for now, there's a lot of speculation. The most recent news is here, where Vivek Ramaswamy and Governor Mike DeWine have met about a potential replacement. Now, this is news because Ramaswamy seemingly had declined to want to be appointed to this seat in the past. He was going to kind of focus on his position with Trump at the Department of Government Efficiency. But now it looks like he's apparently back in the running. Now, that's a whole different story. It's a different state. There's different dynamics. But ultimately, the similarities are it's another Republican governor making another Republican Senate appointment. So if you're into speculation, there's a market here on Polymarket to see who DeWine is going to appoint. Right now, the front runner is Lieutenant Governor John Husted. He had a massive lead up until yesterday when he dropped all the way down to about 50. Now Ramaswamy is right behind in the mid-30s. And Jane Timken, who is also definitely in the list of possibilities, she's at 13%. So usually this kind of thing happens after a presidential election. There's going to be some vacancies in the House, some appointments, usually in the Senate. And we've got 2 of them here so far, both of them in red states. But it does give Democrats a small opportunity in those special elections in 26 next year. If everything collapses in the new administration, Democrats are going to be energized. Republicans might not be as strong as it looks right now. I think that's unlikely. They should be able to hold the seats, and I would say it should be pretty comfortable. But those are a couple of significant changes in the U.S. Senate. So we're going to follow what happens. But for now, let me know in the comments. What do you think about that U.S. Senate appointment in Florida? Do you like the Ashley Moody pick? Do you think it's terrible? What about that special election? Is she going to run for it? Is Matt Gaetz going to challenge her? Is it going to be somebody else? And who do you think is going to be the pick here in Ohio? Let me know down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to help support the channel. Hit the bell for notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.